There are people we are drawn to by mutual sympathy. Everything about them reveals their empathy. In spirit and in action, they reach out to another. They are easy to confide in, like a sister or a brother. It's so good to feel free to say what we may, knowing that the listener would never betray. These people are our friends, really like rare gems. We are lucky if we find some along life's twists and bends. We have a dear friend here in Trinity View, and she had a very unusual, unique life experience, and I thought I should write about her story. This is about Winnie Van Dyke, war and prisons. I thought I should write about prisons I'd never heard about. There, on a distant island of Indonesia, at that time, Java, Dutch East Indies. It was World War II. My thoughts and heart focused on Hitler's death camps and the European Jews. Now, in 2014, I learn of 4 prisons. It enclosed a dear friend, Winnie, and many more. But first, to set the scene, a pleasant home, and this is in Jakarta, a pleasant home, mother, sister, Winnie attending business school, unofficially engaged. He'll be a doctor soon. Pearl Harbor brought the change, with the Netherlands on our side, the Japanese on the other. 1942, Japan's Java invasion and occupation. It's easy to see why Java was wanted, rich in oil, gold and silver, rice and spices, native workers abundant. They built a fence around the city. Winnie's home turned into a prison for many more Dutch in the same position. Sharing kitchen, toilet, sleeping quarters. It strains the mind of how they managed. Soon they were moved, 1 suitcase, mattress 2. Less food to eat, to buy, with dwindling coin supply. Less space to breathe, many chores to do. Enclosed at night with precious netting, fought scourge of insects, tropical heat, wrenched from mother's loving hands, the boys at 10 to distant men's camps sent. Such were the enemy's unfeeling plans. Not to compare, yet stressful too, when Winnie's 2 pet dogs were taken away and destroyed. Such were the enemy's unfeeling ways. The dismal life in prison camps stretched on, number 3, then number 4. Each camp worse than the one before. They slept on wooden slats, 1 yard wide, no more. The food, some rice, cow's intestines, few vegetables, scarce water. Inmates organized to stay alive. The stronger did the harder chores. With language to communicate, their leader went to plead their cause to official who was in charge of needed food, medicine, and supplies. Roll call came daily, standing up in the heat, while guards entered their barracks to search and to steal. Winnie's mom, in her wisdom, sewed into their panties some bills she had salvaged to barter or buy essentials to survive. In their weakened state, beriberi, chickenpox, mumps, these diseases spread. With Winnie sick, dreaded news came, the death of her beloved, the doctor she was to wed. At last, word spread of the end of war. Still, things remained as they were before. Finally, their Japanese overseer, to be taller than the inmates, stood on a table, which he always had done, and said, "The war is over," with no word of who won. Then food supplies dropped from the skies, and British soldiers entered the camp. With the end of war, free to make her own plans, Winnie left for The Hague, there welcomed by her aunt to stay and to mend. With her resilience and stamina, it wasn't long before Winnie found work and a place of her own. Winnie has traveled far in many ways. Her sunny smile and warm personality endear her to all who know her and love her. Of course, our first love is to our parents and mother and father. My mother and father were born in Poland in 1875. They were married in 1900. My father left for the United States in 1904, leaving behind my mother Did I say that they were married in 1900?
Yes.
Because now I have to say that he left behind my mother with 2 little girls and a 3rd child on the way. My mother followed in 1906 with her 2 little girls and her son, her baby, who was 15 months old. She was still nursing my brother, Joey, at that age because she feared contaminated food on this ship. It was in steerage that they were settled, and she also had on this ship, and she was still nursing the baby. And also on this ship was her sister traveling with her little infant. Well, unfortunately, her sister got seasick and unable to nurse her baby. And my mother took over that job. Well, if that isn't love, what is? And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my father. Thinking about Papa. Why didn't you talk to us, Papa? Why didn't you complain and tell us tales of long ago, of life so full of pain? The years when you were very young, we know you lost your mother. When you were 9, about that time, your father took another. And was she kind to you and good and treat you like the others? For soon her hands and heart were with your sisters and your brothers. Rachel, Leah, and Rachmil, Aharon, and Matal. And you were sent apprentice then, a trade to learn, your bread to earn, with tinsmith in your shtetl in the little town. Why didn't you talk to us, Papa? Why didn't you complain? How was it when you left Mama for America so shane, so beautiful, and worked so hard and did without? You must have cried and prayed. And when she wrote you had a son, what anguish mixed with joy to miss the birth, the bris, the nurse, and Bible, little wife, most of all, to